Shock Talk with the Fabulous Five. Okay, so today we're going to discuss the ethical issues and the poor decisions of Don Imus. What do you think are some of the ethical issues that he did wrong?
Well, the first one would probably be just the word choice he used describing the athletes for Rutgers. Like that, as a broadcaster, that's one of those things you need to know. Like, there's a line that can be crossed, and he's known as one of those guys who usually is pretty over the top, but there's a line that was crossed there. So I think that's one of the main ones that was an ethical issue for me when I watched it and listened to it.
Another one I think was how he's talking about the females' bodies. I mean, he was talking about the Rugger girls as rugged, and he was using some poor language there, but and he was calling the Tennessee cute. I don't know, that's just a little weird to me. You don't want commentators making comments like that about teams. So.
And he kind of created like a divide too between like who's attractive and who's not attractive. And I mean, he had people on the air, listening to him too. You didn't know if kids were, listening to it as well with everything he said as well. So.
And sometimes, I feel like as a woman myself, or who used to be an athlete, I think it's harder for us as women to, if we hear that, like, what do you think we're gonna feel like? Or then, you have people coming out like with makeup on now and just like caring about their physical appearance rather than like the actual game and like their actual skills. Some of the word choice, you talk about the word choice that he used to describe the players. What do you think he could have done differently, and like who do you think it affects?
Well, I think he could have used different language, obviously, of course, but if you just talked about their body overall as like, yeah, she's strong, taller, maybe just a little bigger than this girl, just using the size overall, like she's bigger so she can post up better against this defender or not. But I think he could have just not even brought that in there, and this is going to affect all the girls that are playing, both teams, because it's going to create just an image in their head of like what they need to look like you said earlier, and I just think that's going to hurt their image.
And it's not like he's the only one who's done it either. Like, that's a major issue throughout all women's sports, is you hear broadcasters that are just constantly, that's all they talk about is this, that. It's like they're filling the non-gameplay with comments like that, and it's really just something that they need to work towards not doing. Because I feel like they have a duty in representing like the players as well. When they're talking about the players, they need to represent them positively too. I mean, not necessarily like they're playing bad. You can talk about stuff like that, but don't just downgrade them as, because they have tattoos, they're thugs and stuff like that. I think that's just not right.
It affects too, like the schools, like both athletic departments. Affects the NCAA, because that's that's who they're being represented by, as like the Rutgers and volunteers at that given time and night. And, it affects all of his listeners, as I said. Like, he didn't know kids were listening or not. So he kind of just created like just an ethical divide, and he kind of crossed a lot of different boundaries.
And I can kind of see both sides of it, because since I do have like a little bit of experience in commentating, I feel like with his side there could be like some dead space that he was probably trying to fill during like a timeout or doing something, because they do talk a lot, and sometimes I feel like they can just fill it with something else, like talk about upcoming games, talk about the American the scores, or like he doesn't necessarily have to like talk about their physical attributes. There could have been something else that he could have spoke on rather than just speaking about that.
So another problem for that, though, for the radio producers and stuff like that they run into, is you want to have a big personality that's being like the broadcaster, for that, the voice of your radio show. But you also need to realize where's the line in what kind of personality do you want. Like, yeah, you want someone who sticks out and brings people to your audience, but at what cost? That's kind of the way I look at it.
What are some other examples? Like, have y'all heard of anything else that the incidents are kind of similar like this?
There was a Texas high school radio broadcaster as well, but he was on the air and he was talking about the cheerleaders and how they were fat and just ugly, and just kind of went on and on about it for a little while, and he ended up getting, I think, removed from all broadcasting duties in general. But after that, but that's like another instance that I can personally.
That was recently too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very recent, I think.
Haley, you have experience with dance, don't you? So, like, how would you feel if someone called you guys that, since you were, you used to be on the dance team?
The high school girls are already dealing with the issue of being self-conscious about your bodies anyway. So then, of course, when you have a commentator come out and say that, and it's on public, it's out there for the public to hear, that's going to really get into those girls' minds and affect them. And then, of course, when you take it into collegiate, Oftentimes it is, you do have to meet a certain weight or a certain body fat percentage to be able to participate as a cheerleader or dancer because you're constantly in the public eye. And that is something that I feel like a lot of males don't necessarily have to abide by in their sport as well.
Well, I mean, anytime someone says something that's like out of the ordinary to certain sports or certain women or certain things, it has to be handled in the proper way. And I just feel like anytime something like that is so big and drastic, there's gonna be media everywhere. And like I know that media has their own comments and their own opinions, and like it just depends on how you're gonna tell a story. But I think anytime something's like that, they have to go through the proper protocol. So I feel like we can all learn something from this situation, whether it's gender,
Race.
Or the physical attributes.
So we want to thank you for watching Shock Talk.